Good morning, YouTube. How about homemade from scratch roasted garlic and tomato soup? It is perfect for soup season and we are right in the middle of that. So let's cook, y'all. We got a family to feed. It is definitely soup season. It's cold outside, y'all. So we're doing our roasted garlic and tomato soup. And to get started, I have 2 cloves of that's 2 heads of garlic. We're gonna roast this first, and to do that, I've got it just in this foil packet, and I've got some olive oil, and you're gonna drizzle it with olive oil and sprinkle it with salt. And I like to include far more oil than the garlic needs, because later I like to have that garlic infused oil to saute just about anything with. So I probably use a good 1/4 to 1/2 cup of oil, maybe about 1/3, okay? And a couple of good strong pinches of salt. And I have the oven on 350 degrees. And roasted garlic in the oven, you just make a foil packet just like this. It takes about an hour, right? So I threw that in the oven, and I'm gonna set my timer, and we're gonna let that go while I prep the other stuff, because the tomatoes and the onions take a different cooking time. I've got 8 Roma tomatoes, just like that. They're not real big. Wait a minute, I've got garlic stuff on my knife blade, which actually wouldn't hurt a thing, but it bugs me. So we're just gonna get our tomatoes prepped, and it doesn't take much. I'm mainly just cutting off that little stem end. And I'm going to cut each one into 8 pieces, just make nice wedges. Just like this. And then this is also going to get drizzled with oil and salt. So each of the tomatoes is going to be done this way. You see how I'm just laying them out on a baking sheet? And then we're going to do one big fat yellow onion that way. And this onion, not so sure about. Onions, I've noticed, this is not quite December when I'm making this video, and onions are just coming into season. So a lot of times if you buy in bulk like I do, you're actually going to end up buying the last of last season's onions. So I try to be super careful, because sometimes there's some quality issues. You're talking about last year's product. Of course, that doesn't happen if you have most grocery stores. Okay, so our onion is also just going to get cut into big chunks. And what we're doing, y'all, is giving as much surface area as possible for the heat to hit. So that's why we're slicing in chunks. I mean, it'll cook through, but we're also after the caramelization that will happen in the oven. And we want lots of nice charred bits. That's going to give the most flavor to our finished dish. So I'm breaking everything up just a little. And then let me show you how let me show you this real quick. And then y'all don't have to watch me dice or cut up all those tomatoes. So we're simply taking our olive oil over everything, okay? And then a good healthy bit of our kosher salt. And then we want to make sure we get a couple other things on there. So we also want to add basil. You can use oregano, you can use thyme. And I'm using dried basil, pretty heavy. Because fresh tends to burn. That's it. And I have dried, so there we go. And then a good bit of fresh black pepper. All right, so that's our prep. Now, our garlic is in the oven. I'm gonna go ahead and finish cutting up these tomatoes. When the garlic has gone for half an hour, I'm gonna throw the rest of these ingredients in here. I'm gonna throw the seasoned tomatoes and onions in, and I'm gonna let it go for half an hour. So a total of an hour for the garlic, half an hour for the veggies, or, you know, until they've got lots of color. That's the rule. All right, I'll show you that when we get to it. I'm just taking a second to show y'all. Got them all done, they're all sliced. So these are going in the oven for 30 minutes. All right, buddy, we're gonna show something real quick. I went ahead, I didn't wait the 30 minutes, I went ahead and threw those tomatoes in there. I want to show you. They've had about 30 minutes. I'm not real happy with them. They've had a lot of liquid release, that's fine. And the onions are nice and soft, that's fine too. But what's not happened, I'm not getting any caramelization because there was too much liquid in those tomatoes. So what I'm gonna do, throw that back in there. Joey, you can come up here. Hello. Hi. I'm throwing that back in here. I'm gonna get about 10 more minutes before the garlic is done, and then I'm gonna crank the broiler up. And I'm gonna let those tomatoes and onions sit on the broiler for just about, I don't know, just until they get nice and caramelized. The caramelization is where we're gonna get all that massive flavor that we're after, right? So here's a method to my madness. There we go. That's what I wanted. See how it gets dark and caramelized? See? That's what we wanted. So, I took the entire sheet out of the oven, and I'll get the garlic here in a minute. And I've got my blender, maybe. Okay, so I'm not doing that one-handed. All right. Try this again. Here we go. Now, this part is entirely up to you. I think our veggies, by the way, our tomatoes and our onion ended up at about 45 minutes, not half an hour like I thought. And I am looking for this. All right, this part is entirely up to you. It is your personal preference. It's how you like it. We're going to puree this. You can do all of it. You can do some of it. You can do none of it. You can leave it all chunky, that's fine. But we want to make sure we capture all that liquid. This is the seasoned olive oil and all the juices that came out of our tomatoes as they were roasting. And we're just throwing all these veggies in here. And we're gonna whiz it up. Whiz it up. That's the theory anyway. I'm not so sure about this blender. And then over on the stove, oh, I've got to go grab the garlic. On the stove, I've got a pot. The soup will be almost ready to go just as soon as you've shished it up. I do have some homemade chicken broth that we're gonna add. And again, that part's up to you. We're gonna add just enough that it's the texture you like. So you can add none, and it'll be very, very thick. You can add a little, you can add a lot. Whatever you like, this is your food. All right, so into the pot with all of those beautiful juices and the oil and everything else that came out of those veggies. We are hanging on to that. All right, I'm getting excited because it smells really good. And I'm hungry and Bladen is stalking me. On. All right, I'm gonna grab our garlic. We're just gonna let that pulse until it's nice and smooth. All right, I've got our garlic. And all you do with roasted garlic is just kind of squish it out of its little pods. That's it. And you can use as little or as much of this as you want to. Garlic, when you roast it, becomes sweet and nutty and buttery. It really has this gorgeous, complex flavor that's like nothing else. And my kids have been known to walk through and just eat it, like as a snack almost, especially Brent. My child loves roasted garlic. And I will say, if you want to, you can take this oil. I think I'm gonna have Ricky go get us a loaf of French bread. Take that oil and paint that oil on sliced French bread. Yep, toast it. All right, so you're just squeezing that out of there. See how the cloves will come right out? And we're dropping those roasted cloves right into our beautiful soup. And I've about decided I don't think I'm gonna need any of the chicken broth because what I like to do with this soup is finish it, once I get it pureed nice and smooth, I'm gonna throw it back on the stove for a minute just to bring it back up to temperature. And I'm gonna throw in probably half a cup of heavy cream. Hi, kitten. That kitten, that one. Day before Thanksgiving, I was in the kitchen, I was cooking. And this kitten, I hear a kitten outside crying. I think a litter of kittens had been dropped off on our street. So we caught that one, who was out in the road, and I was afraid the little thing was gonna get run over. And I would like to try to find a home for that baby. So if you would like a kitten, we have been calling her Giblet, because, you know, Thanksgiving. We would love to find Giblet a different home. We are over-catted. Alrighty, there is our roasted garlic. And about 4 cloves left over, just for me, because I want them. All right, so here we go. That's what we look like with our garlic and everything in place. I am too short. So I'm just gonna blend this until it's smooth. And then this is going on the stove to warm up. All right, here is our beautiful soup base. And you know what, y'all? I did decide I am gonna give it just a little bit of the chicken broth. It's just a bit too tight. So I'm probably gonna add half a cup to a cup. That's about 3/4. That's homemade chicken broth, so it's a little gelatinous, which is fine. That means it has rich, deep flavor. And as it warms up, it will melt. And all that beautiful flavor will get into our soup. And then I'm going to find the whipping cream. It's just heavy cream, heavy whipping cream. It's all the same stuff. And I'm going to give it half a cup. And that is about perfect. Wow. Weather has really gotten ugly, cold and blustery. And I think this is exactly what we needed. All right, just heating it up. Almost ready. All right, our soup is ready. And I am excited because it is fabulous. I gave it a quick taste just to check it for salt and pepper. Make sure you do yours because the seasonings for the broth will affect the flavor, and the cream. Cream is phenomenal, but it will often dilute a little too much. So double check it after you've added everything. And that, look at that. That is a perfect bowl of soup. I get excited. It's easy to make me happy sometimes. All right, y'all. How'd we do? Oh my God. That is a perfect bowl of soup. Ricky is trying to sneak in to tell me something. Here's my point, guys. Takes almost no time, very little effort. This stuff is fabulous. I mean, everybody has to eat, right? If you're gonna eat, you might as well eat well. And that's how you do it. Hey YouTube, thanks for watching. And if you thought that video was helpful, do me a huge favor. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get a notification whenever I post a new video. And if you have a second, hop on over to Patreon and check out how to support my channel even more. Again, thanks for watching.